If you're over 60 and trying to eat healthy, loading up your plate with fresh greens, heart-friendly veggies, and natural choices, I want you to stop for just a moment. Because what you're about to hear might shock you. For decades, we've been told that vegetables are always good for the heart. But as a doctor who's treated older adults for over 30 years, I've seen firsthand how some of the most common vegetables in American kitchens can quietly sabotage your health, especially when you have high blood pressure, take heart medication, or simply have a body that doesn't process food the same way anymore. This isn't fear-mongering. It's reality. Some healthy vegetables may raise your blood pressure, mess with your meds, or even trigger dangerous heart rhythms, and most seniors have no idea. Today, we're breaking down 6 vegetables that sound healthy, but may be quietly hurting your heart after 60. Before we dive into the details, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Senior Life channel. Your heart will thank you later. What are you waiting for? Let's dive right in and uncover the 6 vegetables that could be silently harming seniors over 60. And most of them are probably sitting in your fridge right now. Vegetable 1, silently affecting seniors, pickled cucumbers. Pickles might seem harmless, but did you know they can silently raise your blood pressure and put your heart at serious risk, even more than bacon? As a senior health doctor with over 3 decades of experience, I can tell you some of the worst heart issues I see don't come from donuts or fried chicken. They come from the sneaky stuff we think is healthy, like pickled cucumbers. Let's get straight to the facts. According to the USDA, just 3 medium slices of store-bought dill pickles contain about 100 milligrams of sodium. That's already 73% of the American Heart Association's recommended daily limit for older adults, which is 500 milligrams per day. And let's be honest, who eats just 3 slices? Now here's what that means for your body. When you eat a high-sodium food like pickles, your body tries to balance it out by holding on to water. This increases blood volume, forcing your heart to pump harder. Over time, this leads to stiffened arteries, high blood pressure, and heart enlargement. A major 2021 study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that seniors with high sodium intake had a 42% increased risk of developing heart failure, even if they had no symptoms at the time. Worse, the symptoms of salt overload in seniors are often subtle fatigue, lightheadedness, swelling in the feet, easily mistaken for just getting old. Let me share a real case. Mr. Carl J. 74 from Michigan came in for routine blood pressure checks. He walked daily, cooked at home, and didn't eat fast food. But his BP stayed around 150/95, even on medication. I asked him to keep a food journal. Turns out he was eating a whole pickle spear with every sandwich and pickled vegetables as a snack. Combined, he was getting over 2,500 milliliters of sodium daily, nearly double the recommended amount. That simple habit was quietly spiking his blood pressure for years. So, what happens to your heart? Too much sodium leads to increased preload and afterload, meaning the heart must work harder with each beat. Left ventricular hypertrophy, thickening of the heart walls. Chronic hypertension. A key driver of heart attacks, strokes, and kidney disease. Impaired diastolic function, meaning the heart doesn't relax properly between beats. A study from the National Institute on Aging also confirmed that even moderate sodium excess can worsen diastolic dysfunction in people over 60, increasing their risk for congestive heart failure. And here's the real danger. Your sense of taste fades as you age. So many older adults don't feel the saltiness anymore, but their bodies still absorb all of it. That's why pickles, which don't even taste salty to many seniors, are such a hidden trap. Practical fixes that work. So what can you do if you love pickles or crunchy sides? Make your own quick pickles with sliced cucumbers, vinegar, garlic, dill, and 0 added salt. Choose no salt added pickles available in many U.S. grocery stores. Now check Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, or online. Always rinse store-bought pickles under cold water. This can reduce surface sodium by 15 to 20%, according to a 2019 study from the Mayo Clinic. Use herbs like rosemary, basil, or crushed red pepper for flavor instead of reaching for salt-based condiments. Vegetable 2. That impacts seniors' heart: raw garlic. It's raw, it's natural, it's powerful. But for seniors, raw garlic might be thinning your blood way too much. Let me break this down for you as someone who's been treating older adults for over 30 years. Garlic, especially raw garlic, gets praised as a miracle food. And sure, it has some amazing benefits. But when you're over 60, and on common medications like aspirin, warfarin, Coumadin, or clopidogrel Plavix, adding raw garlic daily can quietly become a bleeding risk you never saw coming. Let's start with what we know from science. Raw garlic contains a compound called allicin, which forms when garlic is crushed or chopped. Allicin has antiplatelet effects, meaning it prevents blood cells from clumping together to form clots. According to a 2005 study in the Journal of Nutrition, even a single dose of raw garlic was shown to inhibit platelet aggregation by up to 80% in healthy adults, and effects can last for hours. Now, imagine what that does when you're also taking aspirin, which blocks a key enzyme involved in clotting, or warfarin, which thins the blood by depleting vitamin K activity. That's not just boosting your health. That's doubling or even tripling the effect of your blood thinner without any way for your body to regulate it. A major review by the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, NCCIH, noted that garlic supplements, especially raw or concentrated forms, may increase the risk of bleeding, particularly when combined with anticoagulants. Another clinical warning comes from Cleveland Clinic, which lists garlic among the top herbal supplements that can interfere with blood-thinning medications and potentially increase INR levels, a blood test that measures how long it takes to clot. So how dangerous can it get? A case study in 2001 documented a senior who experienced spontaneous bleeding in the eye, vitreous hemorrhage, after consuming raw garlic daily while on warfarin. A 1998 study in blood coagulation and fibrinolysis showed that garlic's antiplatelet effects can be dose-dependent and cumulative, meaning the more you take, the longer and more powerful the effect. And for those on low-dose aspirin, which over 40% of U.S. seniors take, garlic may tip the scales just enough to trigger nosebleeds, bruising, black stools, or in rare cases gastrointestinal or brain bleeding. Raw garlic is not inherently dangerous. But for older adults, especially those on medication, the risk isn't the garlic itself. It's the interaction. What should you do? Instead, here are practical doctor-approved steps for safe garlic use. Cook your garlic. Sautéing, roasting, or adding it to soups reduces the potency of allicin by up to 90%, according to the Linus Pauling Institute. You still get antioxidant benefits without the strong blood-thinning effect. Stick to 1 clove per day if you're on medication, and keep it consistent. Don't detox with 4 cloves on Monday, then skip it the rest of the week. Avoid garlic supplements unless your doctor specifically recommends it, especially odorless garlic pills, which often contain concentrated allicin. Tell your doctor or pharmacist if you regularly use raw garlic. This helps them adjust your INR monitoring or medication doses accordingly. Watch for warning signs: black or tarry stools, easy bruising, prolonged bleeding from cuts, pink urine, or unexplained fatigue. Vegetable 3 to watch out for in Seniorhealth: raw cabbage. Raw cabbage is high in FODMAPs, specifically fructan's, a type of carbohydrate that ferments in the colon. According to the Monash University FODMAP database, A single cup of raw cabbage can be considered high FODMAP for sensitive individuals. That means it feeds gut bacteria and causes gas production, bloating, and pressure buildup. Now, this might be fine for a 30-year-old athlete. But in seniors, the National Institute on Aging (NIA) explains that digestion slows with age, meaning food, and gas linger in the gut longer. The stomach empties more slowly, the intestines move sluggishly, and the abdominal wall becomes less flexible. This is a perfect storm for abdominal distension. When that gas builds up in your belly, it pushes against the diaphragm, the muscle that helps your lungs expand. And for people with existing lung or heart issues like mild COPD or congestive heart failure, that pressure limits lung capacity and stresses the heart. A 2019 study from the American Journal of Gastroenterology found that older adults with bloating-related distension had up to 30% reduced diaphragmatic excursion, meaning they physically couldn't breathe as deeply during episodes of bloating. I had a patient, Mrs. Clara H., age 72, from Ohio, lovely woman active, trying to eat clean. She made raw cabbage slaw with apple cider vinegar every day for lunch. But then she started experiencing shortness of breath after meals. EKG was normal. Lungs were clear. Blood work looked fine. The problem, gas buildup from raw cabbage, was physically compressing her lungs, making it harder to breathe. Once we switched her to steamed cabbage, the symptoms vanished in a week. Raw cabbage also contains insoluble fiber, which is tougher for seniors to digest. According to the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, insoluble fiber speeds up gut transit, but in slower-moving systems like those of seniors, it can lead to fermentation and discomfort. 1 cup of shredded raw cabbage contains about 2.2 grams of fiber, mostly insoluble, which seems small until you consider seniors often pair it with other cruciferous veggies, broccoli, cauliflower, multiplying the fermentable load. If gut motility is already reduced, the gas doesn't move, it expands. Over time, this can mimic cardiac symptoms, chest pressure, irregular heartbeat from vagus nerve stimulation, and shallow breathing. The good news is, cabbage doesn't have to be the enemy. You just need to prepare it smart and listen to your body. Here's what I recommend. Cook your cabbage. Steaming or lightly sautéing can reduce FODMAP content by up to 40% according to Monash University. Cooking breaks down tough fibers and makes it more digestible. Limit raw servings to 1-2 cup, especially if you're over 60 or have any history of bloating, GERD, or breathing issues. Don't pair it with other gas-producing foods like onions, beans, or carbonated drinks. Chew thoroughly. Poorly chewed cabbage leads to more fermentation. Keep a symptom diary. If you feel bloated, short of breath, or heavy in the chest after meals, note what you ate and how it was prepared. Add ginger or fennel to meals. Small trials from the World Journal of Gastroenterology show these may help reduce gas and cramping in sensitive guts. Vegetable 4. Spicy red chili peppers. The active ingredient in red chili peppers, cayenne Thai chilies, crushed red pepper flakes, is called capsaicin. It's the compound responsible for that intense heat, and it works by stimulating pain receptors called TRPV1. When capsaicin hits your body, it does more than just burn your mouth. It triggers your sympathetic nervous system, the same one that kicks in during stress or danger. This leads to increased adrenaline and noradrenaline release, elevated heart rate, constricted blood vessels, temporary rise in blood pressure. Now, in a younger adult, this might not cause a problem. But in seniors whose hearts are often less flexible and whose arteries are already narrowed or hardened, this stimulation can create serious cardiovascular stress. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Hypertension Research found that even moderate doses of capsaicin, equal to about 1 to 2 small hot peppers per meal, caused significant increases in systolic blood pressure (SBP) and heart rate in subjects over 60. The effect peaked around 20-30 minutes after eating and lasted up to an hour. Another 2020 study in the Journal of the American Heart Association tracked 2,183 adults over age 65 and found that those who regularly consumed hot chili had a 26% higher incidence of arrhythmic events, including atrial fibrillation, especially when combined with caffeine or alcohol. Even more concerning, a report from the Mayo Clinic proceedings noted that capsaicin, when consumed in high quantities or frequently in older adults, can aggravate underlying cardiovascular issues by triggering early after depolarizations, a fancy term that means the heart's rhythm gets thrown off track during the beat cycle. Yes, in small controlled doses, capsaicin may offer some benefits. Some studies have linked it to slightly improved circulation, appetite control, pain relief through desensitizing nerves, possibly increased metabolism, though modest, around 10-15 extra calories burned per meal. But these benefits are typically observed in younger adults or under clinical supervision. For older adults, the risks often outweigh the rewards, especially when hot peppers are consumed daily or in large quantities. And remember, the U.S. dietary guidelines for Americans do not recommend spicy foods as a requirement for heart health. In fact, for seniors with hypertension, AFib, or valvular disease, the American Heart Association advises limiting dietary triggers, and spicy food can absolutely be one. You don't need to toss out flavor completely, but moderation and awareness are key. Here's what I advise my patients. Switch to milder flavors, like turmeric, ginger, garlic, rosemary, or smoked paprika. If you love heat, cut the portion in half. Maybe use chili oil for aroma instead of fresh chopped peppers. Avoid spicy meals before bed. They can raise nighttime heart rate and disturb sleep. Stay hydrated. Dehydration magnifies capsaicin's impact on the nervous system. Watch your body's response. If your heart flutters, you sweat. Feel flushed, dizzy, or breathless. After spicy meals, take it seriously. Vegetable 5. You need to know about canned vegetables. They're cheap, convenient, and still technically vegetables. But if you're over 60, canned veggies might be slowly raising your blood pressure without you even noticing. Let's talk about what makes canned vegetables tricky for older adults. As a doctor with over 30 years working in senior care, I've had countless patients tell me they're eating healthy. Doc, I eat vegetables every day, only to find out they're loading their bodies with silent salt bombs. The problem isn't the vegetable itself, it's what comes with it in the can. Canned vegetables are typically preserved in brine, a saltwater solution used to extend shelf life and maintain texture. While it helps keep the food fresh, that brine often contains a surprising amount of sodium. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture USDA, a half-cup serving of canned green beans contains about 390 of sodium. Canned corn averages around 290-310 mg per serving. Canned carrots, around 320 mg. A full can often holds 2 to 3 servings, meaning you're easily getting 700 to 1,000 plus mg of sodium in one sitting. Now consider this. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 ml of sodium per day for adults over 60. One can of healthy vegetables can get you 2/3 or more of that daily limit before you even factor in bread sauces or soups. Here's where age makes a big difference. After 60, your kidneys become less efficient at excreting sodium. Your blood vessels stiffen, and your heart becomes more sensitive to changes in fluid volume. Sodium causes your body to retain water, which increases blood volume. That extra fluid makes your heart work harder, leading to elevated blood pressure, enlarged heart muscle, left ventricular hypertrophy, increased risk of stroke, heart attack, and kidney damage. According to the CDC, nearly 80% of adults over 65 have high blood pressure, and sodium is a major contributor. The scary part, high blood pressure doesn't usually cause symptoms. That's why they call it the silent killer. A 2021 study in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society found that adults over 65 who consumed over 2,000 grams of sodium daily had a 34% higher risk of heart failure hospitalization, even if they were on blood pressure meds. Mayo Clinic confirms that rinsing canned vegetables under cold water can reduce surface sodium by up to 41%. The FDA states that a product is considered low sodium if it contains 140 mg per serving, and most canned vegetables exceed this limit. A 2019 National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey NHOINS found that canned vegetables are a major source of hidden sodium in the diets of older adults who believe they're eating healthy. Here are simple, realistic changes. I recommend to patients, whether you're over 60 or just planning ahead, look for no salt added or low sodium labels. Many brands like Del Monte Libby's and store brands now offer these. Rinse canned vegetables in cold water for 15-30 seconds before cooking or serving at works. Use herbs and spices like garlic onion powder, black pepper lemon juice, or dried basil instead of salt for flavor. Consider frozen vegetables. They're often just as convenient and usually contain no added salt. Watch portion sizes. If the label says 2.5 servings, that means 2.5 times the sodium if you eat the whole can. Track your sodium using apps like MyFitnessPal or Nutritionix. Many seniors are surprised to find they're over the limit without realizing it. Let's move on to Vegetable 6 spinach. Spinach is loaded with vitamin K1, a fat-soluble vitamin that plays a major role in blood clotting. In fact, according to the National Institutes of Health, NIH, just 1 cup of cooked spinach contains over 880 micrograms of vitamin K. That's more than 700% of the recommended daily intake. While that's great for healthy bones and blood vessel function in general, it becomes a serious concern if you're taking anticoagulants, especially warfarin Coumadin. Why? Because warfarin works by blocking vitamin K, which slows down the body's ability to form clots. If you suddenly increase your vitamin K intake, it reduces the effectiveness of the drug, making your blood more likely to clot, which can lead to stroke, pulmonary embolism, or deep vein thrombosis, DVT. Worse, if you suddenly stop eating spinach after regularly consuming it, your blood may become too thin, leading to internal bleeding, bruising, or brain hemorrhage. According to the American Heart Association, over 6 million Americans take blood thinners with warfarin still commonly prescribed to those over 65. A study in the Journal of Thrombosis and Hemostasis found that even moderate changes in dietary vitamin K can swing INR levels by 15 to 40%, increasing the likelihood of hospitalization. A 2022 review in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition emphasized that inconsistent vitamin K intake was one of the most common causes of unstable INR among elderly patients. And yet spinach is in everything these days. Smoothies, salads, even green juices. Many seniors don't realize they're flooding their systems with vitamin K. Mr. Daniel L. 72 from Arizona came to my office complaining of occasional chest tightness and frequent bruising. He had been on warfarin for atrial fibrillation and prided himself on his healthy breakfast, which included a green smoothie packed with 2 full cups of raw spinach every morning. We tested his INR international normalized ratio, and it had dropped to 1.4, far below the safe range of 2.0, 3.0 for his condition. That meant his blood was too thick, and his stroke risk was high. Why? Because over the previous 2 weeks, he'd unknowingly increased his vitamin K intake by over 1,200 mcg daily without informing his cardiologist. Once we adjusted his spinach intake and stabilized it, keeping his portions steady and consistent, his INR returned to normal. As you age, your liver function slows, your medication sensitivity increases, and you're more likely to be managing multiple health conditions, including hypertension, heart disease, and atrial fibrillation. This makes it even more important to keep your vitamin K intake consistent, not just healthy. Even healthy foods, when consumed erratically, can become dangerous in this context. Here's what I tell my patients. Don't eliminate spinach, just eat it consistently. Aim for the same portion size and frequency each week. Don't skip it for days, then binge. Inform your doctor and pharmacist about how often you eat high vitamin K foods. This includes kale, collard greens, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, not just spinach. Cook your spinach instead of eating it raw. Cooking reduces the total volume, so you're less likely to overconsume accidentally. Get your INR tested regularly, especially if you make any changes to your diet. Switch to blood thinners not affected by vitamin K, like apixaban, Eliquis, or rivaroxaban, Xarelto, if your doctor agrees. So now you know even vegetables aren't always innocent, from pickled cucumbers packed with sodium, to raw garlic that can clash with your blood thinners, to raw cabbage bloating your belly and lungs, or the hidden heart triggers in red chili peppers, the sneaky salt in canned vegetables, and the vitamin K overload in spinach. Each one can be a silent threat if you're over 60 and unaware. But here's the good news: with a few smart tweaks and a little awareness, you can still enjoy these foods safely without putting your heart, your brain, or your independence at risk. If you or someone you love is getting older, now's the time to take a second look at what's on the plate, not with fear, but with wisdom. Stay informed, stay in control, and stay strong for the years ahead. Before we dive into the next tip, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Senior Life for more science-backed advice that could protect your life or someone you love.